today what I want to cover here is really talk about covering building your signature coaching program, talking about deliverables and how to really build a program that you don't end up wasting time building something that doesn't completely fit what is going to be your long-term product. And what I mean by that is a lot of us are in a space where we're looking to create a course or something that allows us to get our time back a little bit more. And I want to talk about the process of doing that, because if you just assume and if you guess different content or different ways to leverage the deliverables, a lot of times we'll be wrong. And then we have to rebuild it a million times, which is what me and Mike have done. So we want to teach you how to learn from what we've done and not have to do what we've done in that way. So I want to talk about how to build a powerful program and just in general, like how to have your deliverables in a way that gives you back time while also providing an insane amount of value to your clients. So let's talk about an overall program, right? From start to finish. I'm going to dive into this presentation real quick. All right. You guys can see this?
Yes, sir.
You can hear me? Oh, let me pin this. All right. So where the hell did that window go? Man, too many goddamn screens can be annoying. Well, I don't know where it went, dude. That makes no sense.
That's the escape button. Usually brings windows up for me.
You gotta love this shit. Monitors are so efficient and then they're not. All right, fuck the presentation. We're just gonna roll. So when we think about building a program that allows us to gain back time, right? What the first thing that we want to think about, as you've probably seen in Offer Mastery if you've already been through it, but it's a good refresher to talk about here either way, is it all starts with the dream outcome, right? Is like, what is the dream outcome for our clients? Is it losing weight? Is it losing 15 pounds in 90 days? Is it, finding your ideal partner? Is it, going through a healing journey and coming out on the other side, stronger, more aware, all these things? Like, what is that dream outcome of your client and where do they start? So every time I look at building a coaching program or building anything, which is something we're actually doing right now, is like rebuilding a lot of the course and adding a ton of material. I look at where does a client start with us and where does a client end with us? So what is the start and the finish of this program? And then what I want to look at are what are the wins along the way, right? So for instance, with our program, and this is just speaking from experience and you can start to apply this to your own process, is like, our first win with a client is launching outreach. The next win is booking an appointment. The next win is optimizing outreach. The next win is generating revenue and then doubling down on that revenue, doubling down on those appointment bookings, right? So like those are the overall ideas, the overall checkpoints of the program here, right? If we're looking at a fitness offer, let's say that someone starts in a place where they are 250 pounds and they want to cut down to 225. So they want to lose 25 pounds in 90 days. So they are starting at 250, ending at 225. What are the overarching things that they need to hit? What are the checkpoints that they need to hit in order to get there? And it might be something where like they need to enjoy going to the gym. They need to understand macros. They need to understand what food to put in their bodies, right? So now we have the overall ideas of what step by step gets them to that end goal. Then what we want to think about in our coaching program, and this is where a lot of it is key, right? Is most people think if they're going to create a course or going to create a program, a lot of people think about the curriculum, right? What is the knowledge that I have to give to these people? And what I want you guys to reframe that to is what are the action items that people need to take in order to get to that desired outcome, right? what are the micro outcomes and the micro action items that overall get somebody from their starting point to the ending point with you? When you start to figure out those granular action items, for instance, like with us, right? We need to get very clear on who, like, even though the checkpoint, our first checkpoint is launching outreach, there's a lot of shit that gets you to launch outreach, right? We need to get really clear on the niche, right? So you've got a video about the niche, then you do an assignment on the niche. Then we've got to get very clear on the offer. So you've got offer videos, then you've got an assignment for that offer, right? So as you can see, even with our program, we follow this structure where we figure out the overall checkpoint that is a win. What are the wins along the way? And then we figure out the granular items that get that person to that win. And the key to this, and the key to being able to gain back your time as a coach so that you're not hopping on a ton of one-on-one calls, is creating assets that allow people to implement the information that they're learning, right? So with us, you can see it with how you go through the program. It's like you watch videos, you obtain the knowledge, and then you do an action item that allows you to integrate the knowledge that you just learned into like an exercise, right? And what that does is, instead of you just having the knowledge, now you are pushing yourself to take that knowledge and integrate it into your business, right? As you take those action items day by day, you will continue to understand the aspects of being a business owner. You'll continue to learn how to think like a business owner, right? So we're actually putting the ball into your hands to do these items. And it's not just because we want to gain back time. It's also because it empowers you to become a business owner who can think about these problems and solve these problems, which is a big part of business, right? So when you're thinking about your offer, when you're thinking about, a healing journey, when you're thinking about fitness transformation, when you're thinking about finding your ideal partner, it's like, what are those micro action items that somebody needs to take? And what can we build as far as an assignment or a PDF or some sort of workbook or something that allows them to integrate that information into something that actually allows them to implement what they just learned, right? And how can we review that as the coach and provide feedback? So you can see with our whole process, right? You guys are able to go through the course. You're able to learn about like the niching down. You're able to understand that, figure out your avatar. Then you get into the offer piece. You learn a ton about creating an offer. Then you submit your offer audit, and then we hop on a call, right? So you have done all that work before us having to get on a call, when previously we might have had to hop on a one-on-one call just to cover niche, just to cover the offer, and then to like review your offer, right? So that might have been 3 one-on-one calls previously. Now it's only 1 one-on-one call, and it's basically covering everything you just learned. And we're putting the ball in your hands to integrate the information that you just learned, right? So when we look at dating and finding your ideal partner, how can we create assets that allow us to gain back time while still providing the same value, right? So like Andrea, I know one of the things that you do with your clients that are dating online is like you help them kind of like optimize their dating profiles so that they can attract the ideal partner that they want. So being able to have an asset where, you teach them through videos how to optimize your profile, and then maybe they do it themselves and then they submit it to you. Maybe they send you some screenshots of their page, and like, then all you have to do from there is you can send a Loom video of looking at their page and being like, hey, you should tweak this, this, and this. This looks great, but maybe you should make this little tweak, right? And then you can send that Loom video instead of you being on a one-on-one call that might have taken an hour to help them optimize their page. Now you just sent a 5-minute Loom video that solves all the problems, and you allowed that person to integrate the information that they just learned, right? So that's an example of one piece of your offer that you could pretty much automate by putting the information in their hands and then giving them an exercise to submit to you so that you can then provide feedback. Even think about with fitness, with you, Rashid, like, what about if you had, and I'm not sure if you're already doing this, but just an idea is like, when you implement a workout routine with one of your clients, what if you had them film their what's the word I'm looking for? Like their form, What if you had them film their form of their squat or of their bench press or of their, deadlift or RDLs? Like, what if you had them film that, and then all you did was record a Loom video of, hey man, like it looks like you dropped your back a little bit too much here. Like, make sure we want to stay completely parallel. Like, you'll be able to provide that support where it feels like you're an in-person trainer, right? And that's how you take online training to the next level, is like, okay, now you have your program, you have your nutrition, you have your goal. Maybe we have meetings or whatever the case may be, but also providing that like tangible feedback to form is a huge piece, because you're not able to see it in person, right? You can't spot them and show them the right way to do things live. So what if they just sent you a video of their bench press or of their deadlift, and you were able to provide tangible feedback of, hey, next time, man, you should do this. Next time you should tweak it like this, right? So now you're providing that tangible one-on-one support without you having to hop on a call. They're sending you a video, you're sending back a Loom video, right? And same thing with you, Roxanne, even with what you do. It's like, you can have somebody send you a assignment, right? You can build an assignment around, maybe it's with the healing journey, maybe it's a certain piece that allows them to have like an inner reflection of themselves and have them understand on their own some different pieces that they need to work on. And maybe they submit that assignment to you, and you send back a Loom video with feedback. And the big thing that you're doing here by providing this sort of support is you're building an environment where people are becoming independent instead of codependent. They're becoming independent learners instead of codependent learners, right? Codependent learners are those clients that we've all had, where they're like blowing us up all the time. Like, we get messages at midnight and 1 a.m. of them like sending messages and questions and all this stuff. And they are relying on us to provide every answer to their business, or every answer to their healing journey, or every answer to their fitness, every answer to their dating. Whereas, what if we were able to give them the information and integrate that information with an assignment that they just submit to us and we provide feedback? Now we're putting all of the actual implementation into their hands, and we're teaching them the knowledge that allows them to be independent learners. And that's a big piece, because the idea of a coaching program is, we want to build a coaching program so good that people don't need us anymore. And I know that sounds weird, because there's probably a lot of people out there who would say, like, build a coaching program that, allows people to want to be working with you forever. And like, yeah, like that would be good for you as a business owner, but that's not good for your clients. Like, your clients are just going to be codependent. They're going to rely on you for everything, and they're going to be an emotional like exhaustion for you, right? Whereas if we create these independent learners who are implementing work themselves, they're learning the information, they're doing the assignments, and we're providing the feedback and still that one-on-one support, but in a way that doesn't take up so much of our time, we're creating somebody who's really going to take that information and run with it. So the key to building your coaching program in a way that gives you back time while also providing an insane amount of value is thinking about your program in action items. What is the action that people need to take? Because knowledge is one thing, right? Having knowledge is great, but we all know that taking action, implementation is where we actually learn. Knowledge is just something that goes into our heads, whatever, our subconscious grabs some of it, it gets rid of the other stuff that we think isn't important, and that's all we got, right? It's just in our heads. But when we actually implement it right away, now we are taking the subconscious and making it conscious to the point where now we have a strong understanding of the information because we're implementing it. That's why everybody always says, right? Like, write down something instead of just typing it, because writing something down, your body is making that reaction to it. It's watching you write the words, right? So these assignments are huge, and not only as a benefit to us, right? And that's one thing I want to mention, because a lot of coaches I've talked to in the past who want to shift over to like group coaching programs or hybrid coaching programs, they're a little bit reluctant to do so because they feel that group coaching, you can't get the same type of support as one-on-one. And I promise you, like, that's not true at all. You just have to build it in a way that allows people to become independent instead of codependent. And one-on-one in most cases can build codependency, right? And I think we've probably all experienced it. We have had clients, all of us have, who have been one-on-one clients who have crushed it. They've learned the information. They've been great clients. But I know for a fact we've also probably had clients who have been a little bit codependent, and they've been a little bit, maybe not the best clients that we would have as our dream client, right? And how you create more dream clients is by giving them the knowledge that they can then implement with action items. So I want you guys to think about what are the action items that get people from where they start to the finish, to the overall goal. Think about those action items and think about what you can build as an asset around it. Maybe it's just a PDF that's an exercise of some questions for them to answer. Maybe it is a video that breaks down your process or breaks down something, right? Rashid, maybe it's videos that show the exercises so that people know the form and you don't even have to correct them on the form. And Andrea, maybe it's like I said, a whole section of some videos that allow somebody to just go through 5 videos, know exactly how their profile should look, and then they just submit their profile to you and you can provide feedback, right? So now you're creating this environment of those independent learners. And that's a huge piece of building a coaching business that allows you to impact more people while also giving people direct results that is going to allow them to be independent instead of codependent. So that's one huge piece that I wanted to talk about today is those action items and shifting the thinking of building a coaching program around action items and not just curriculum or not just, one-on-one calls. Like, how can we build assets that pull us away from doing one-on-one calls and also still provide that same amount of support? The other thing I want to talk about is really thinking about one thing that I've noticed recently with a lot of our coaches that are doing really well, a lot of the coaches I've consulted in the past, like looking into trends and different things, is that we need to build a method that allows us to build exclusivity around anybody else in our space because our method is the method. And what I mean by that is like, what can you name your process without getting granular about, hey, this is how we do it. We track macros, we do the workouts, we do this. Like, what can we call our method, our actual strategy to getting clients results? How can we create exclusivity just based off of that method, right? So for instance, like we're building into the course, what we're calling the magnetic method. And that magnetic method is what we've been talking about a lot recently, which is about driving all your organic content and all your call to actions to a Facebook group that has the questions, everything that I've been talking about with that Facebook group funnel, right? So now we're building content in the course that's called the magnetic method, and we're going to sell the magnetic method as its own product, right? So like it's going to be part of the automated coaching engine, but we're going to be able to hype up like the magnetic method is something that will allow you to organically build your business, right? So like it has that allure to it about the magnetic method. So what is the method that you can start to like preach that allows you to build exclusivity away from people that are already in your space, that has people thinking like, I need to work with that method because like that method is working for all these people and it can probably work for me too. And, it sounds like something I've never tried, right? And it might be something that people have tried, but like, how can we build the exclusivity that makes it feel from the outside like something we need, something that people need to know about? And this is a lot of what I've been talking about with naming your coaching program too, is like, how can we build the name around a movement, right? So the name of your coaching program is building that movement, but the name of your method is building the exclusivity that this is the one approach that you haven't tried yet. And that's the type of thing that you want to build, is this is the one approach that you haven't tried yet. Like you've probably tried keto, you've probably tried this, you've probably tried that, but this is the one approach you haven't tried yet, right? That's how you build that exclusivity around the method that becomes very, very interesting to those clients or those people who are on the outside who have been consuming your content but just haven't pulled the trigger yet. I know there's another point I wanted to bring up here, so I'm trying to bring up that presentation one more time. But Let me see here. And we've talked a lot on, not just in the course, but also on these live trainings, about the presentation of offer, like how to make an offer seem like a no-brainer, right? So that's the sales piece. The sales piece is, how do you make the offer sound like a no-brainer on a sales call? But then the fulfillment piece is, how do we create a program that allows people to become independent learners who gain a skill set that is tangible to them, that they can then solve their own problems, and they can potentially walk away from us at the end of the program and not even need our help anymore, right? How do we build that type of environment? And those action items are the key things, and those assets allow us to take that information for, our clients to be able to watch that information, gain that information, and implement it with those exercises. So that's the big piece that we want to think about, and that I want to kind of open up some different questions around with you guys. Is I want to talk about, like, those, thinking about a program as action items instead of curriculum, while also thinking about the methodology behind what you do. How can you build exclusivity around that methodology that you do, to the point where people think it's the one that they need to try because they haven't tried it yet? Mike, do you have anything you want to piggyback off of all that?
No, I mean, I would just say that, and Rashid, this kind of goes to like what we were talking about this morning. It's more so, just going into creating like that culture. But like you started off at the beginning, it's like more so the desired outcome, turning those curriculum, quote unquote, steps into steps that they can take action on, to where you can get feedback on how did they obtain that information, like what can you give them to optimize like what they retain from it. It's more so just creating an engagement between you and that person. But one of the biggest things that helped us out early on with this is incorporating like end of day forms and kind of like a beginning of day form too. And it's more so like kind of like, what are you working on today? What do you need help with? What can we do for you to help you accomplish whatever you're trying to accomplish? Then, same thing at the end of the day, going backwards into it, like, okay, cool. What did you accomplish today? What held you up today? What do you need our assistance on? This will allow you to survey your clients, survey your group, and then come up with the common pieces that they're struggling with, so then you know where to dive back into your curriculum, turn those pieces of content into actionable items. And, it allows you to just kind of survey how people are obtaining your information. Sorry, I'm out of breath and get a little workout in, but yeah, that's just one of the things I wanted to highlight there that helped us out with this early on, is more so just getting direct feedback on how, people are obtaining the information. What are they taking away from it? What's hanging them up? How can we better serve them, type of thing. And then from there, like I said, you'll really just kind of find like the similarities between your group, and you'll be able to create, curriculum, create, engaging activities based off of all that type of information. But yeah, no, I just wanted to highlight that, just because I think that's really important, just whether you're doing one-on-one or group, it's overall just really important to get feedback from your clients and on what they would like to see.
100%. And like, when I look into any sort of coaching offer, there is 4 different things that are really important with that coaching offer. Number 1 is community, right? So how do you build an engaging community of people who are collaborating with each other, connecting with each other, or just like active in the group, right? And the best way to do that for a lot of different coaching programs, depending on what you do, like a fitness would be a good example, is like incorporating some sort of daily check-in to your program, right? So where people are checking in every day and saying certain things. So building that community and building that engagement around, maybe they're checking in with their daily morning routine or something like that, right? Maybe you're instilling some habits with your clients that you want them to be consistent with. Maybe they can check in every morning and say, you know, good morning, like hit my workout, hit my macros, super pumped for the day, you know, like. And if all your clients are checking in every day into a group like that, you're building that community, you're building that engagement. The coaching program that we've been a part of and we've helped build, that's a multiple 7-figure coaching program, Wake Up Wealthy, like they have their daily check-ins every single morning with their daily morning routines. So they implement morning routines with their clients, and every single day they put out, every single client puts out a message into the group saying what they got done and what they didn't get done in their morning routine. So there's literally hundreds of messages every single day in their group chat because of it, right? So that's created that engagement and that community. And then next is, how do we give them all the knowledge and the action items, right? So building some sort of course that allows us to gain back our time so we're not on as many one-on-one calls, right? So putting that information. So now they have the evergreen element of that course that puts them on the right path. They have the action items to integrate that information. Number 2, they have the community, they have the engagement, right? Number 3 is the support. So how are you going to give your clients support? Is it going to be weekly group coaching calls? Is it going to be one-on-one calls? Is it going to be a portal where people can submit those action items so that you can provide feedback? Like, those 3 things are really important. Community, having the evergreen piece, having the support. And then the last piece I would say is also having a clear path for your clients. Like, when I say, you know, where do they start and where do they end, knowing exactly how to get somebody from that start point to that end point, step by step, to the point where you build it out on some sort of flow chart or some sort of visual aspect, you're able to see each action item. And this is the same roadmap you'll take every client through, right? That's why niching down is really important, because when you niche down, you can create one solution for that entire group. And now you can build that course that allows you to gain back time, right? You can build those assets, you can build those action items, because it's the same thing for each client that goes through your program, right? And when you build that sort of engagement, when you build that sort of structure, you might have some predispositions about group coaching programs. Maybe you've been a part of a group coaching program that like wasn't good. Maybe you've tried out your own group coaching program that wasn't good, right? But I guarantee that if your group coaching program didn't work out, it was because, number 1, you weren't creating an engaging community. Number 2, you didn't have a place for people to engage in evergreen content that will keep them active. Number 3, you didn't hold people accountable to that process. And number 4, there wasn't a clear path for that person to take. In my opinion, group programs are the best to build at some point. Like, you definitely need some one-on-one experience to understand what your clients are experiencing, understand like what problems you're solving for. But group coaching programs are where you need to get to, because it'll create those independent learners. Some people, they won't get as much results as you want them to get. Like, that's, no matter what your coaching program is, no matter what you do, you will always have some people who might not implement the information and might not get the same results as other people in the program. That will always happen no matter what you do, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's group, no matter what you do, those people will always be there. But understanding the fact that if you can create a group coaching program that has a strong community, strong engagement, evergreen content, and you're creating that support channel and having a clear path to the end result, you will have a successful program that you'll be able to scale without any sort of ceiling, because you're not limited by your one-on-one time, right? So I wanted to dive into a lot of that stuff today, because I know a lot of coaches, whether you guys are on the call or whether you're going to be watching this recording, I know a lot of our coaches are in the process of building longevity, right? Building a program that can be a long-term scaling project for them. So these are really a lot of the steps to doing so. With that being said, do you guys have any questions directly based off of what we talked about today? Perfect. No questions? Anybody got any questions outside of what we talked about today that you want to jam on? No worries, Andrea. Have a good one. Rashid, do you have anything you want to jam on, like anything outside of what we talked about today?
I'm good. I think I just need help with the niching down, so I think we'll discuss that tomorrow.
Perfect. Sounds good to me, man. Who have you been working with so far?
Basically, anyone I can coach. So I can tell you my best clients. My best clients are students, so college students. And I have one friend who's an agency. He works in an agency, so he's also a good client. So I was thinking probably niche down to agency owners. So, or people who work in like digital marketing agencies and they want to get their fitness right. That might be a good niche.
Nice. Yeah, that's a solid one. That's a good one. Go ahead.
Oops, sorry. What we were talking about this morning was just kind of like the high performance angle. You know, people that are already doing like good in life, you know, but they're looking to just kind of go to the next level. So, you know, like he was saying, like capitalizing on like kind of like those entrepreneurs and you know, people that are already, you know, looking to perform better type of thing, and taking that like health wealth relationship angle with it. You know, like this is the missing piece to you going to the next level type of thing. You know.
Yeah, 100%. And I do like the marketing agency angle. If we find the right like messaging and angle around that, I think that could be a good audience for sure.
Yeah, because I do have experience with like Notion and stuff and like systems, so I might be able to relate to them.
Yeah, for sure. No, and that's the huge piece is like when you think about niching, just like you're doing, the first thing you want to look at is who have you already worked with, who have you already had experience with, who are your best clients, but then also flip it into like who do you have a common interest in coaching? You know, like what is an area of individual that you would actually enjoy coaching at a high level consistently, you know? And if that's something where like, just like you said, you have some experience with like Notion and systems and different stuff like that, then it sounds like, you know, you have obviously an interest in business and systems just like they do. So you guys could be able to collaborate and like mesh with that different, like, you know, like-mindedness.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I think that's a solid idea for sure. Cool, man. Anything else that you want to jam on while we're here?
That's it. I think that's it.
Cool. Sounds good, brother. Well, if anything pops up in the meantime, feel free to reach out and let us know. We're always down to jam and make sure that you have everything you need. So I'm stoked to get everything up and rolling with you, and we're here if you need us.